Child, get in here, this is not a drill, this is not a drill. Desmond then got caught locking lips with a mystery woman. Well, she not so mystery no more. Child, they say this is Marissa Springer. You mean to tell me that he been sitting up here fraternizing with this floozy this entire time and trying to play in our face? Excuse me? Have mercy. Let's get into it. Now, before we get into this video, just a disclaimer. These are my black ass opinions and messy little thoughts. Nothing is fact, just vibes and fair use, baby. Period. Child, so sources familiar with the situation told TMZ that the woman getting hot and heavy with Desmond last Sunday was Marissa Springer, a 24-year-old local Houston model who's also currently in school working towards her master's degree in business. And apparently they also told TMZ that this was the first time that Desmond and Marissa met each other earlier that night through a mutual friend. Let's take a look at this here. Child, now by the look at this kiss, it seemed very much passionate. If you ask me, it's giving that somebody is the fuck lying. So, is it giving that he's just happy to be free, as some are saying online? Or is he playing in our face because he don't like those allegations that people were saying about him being part of the other side? Child, now let's call on some reinforcements from TikTok. But before we do, shout out to every content creator that I put into this video.
Desmond! Yeah, by that footage with Desmond... Everything happened the way that man said. You're clocking those videos on his phone saying, oh, this is when he started cheating. Nah, that's after he told her he didn't want to be in that relationship and that he was mentally, emotionally, and spiritually checked out. By the way he holding and kissing that woman, he was yearning. He was yearning to be out that situation. I'm not going to speculate as to why, because really it doesn't matter. What matters is he didn't want to be there. He got out, told her he was no longer interested in pursuing this partnership. She wanted to fix it. He let her know, hey, I've already acted upon it. I'm sorry, it's beyond reconciliation. She files for divorce. But see, and low-key, it's a blessing. There are some men that will let women continue to try knowing good and well that marriage is beyond reconciliation. But they will allow her to try so they have the best of both worlds. How does the saying go? You can't uncrack an egg. You just gotta cook with it. Christy couldn't change Desmond's feelings, emotions, thought process. But what she can do is she can make some pasta with a whole nother nigga. By the looks of it, this has been in the works for quite some time. And by this, I do mean the divorce. It doesn't look like there's animosity, anger, bad feelings. It looks like they're co-parenting. And they're doing exactly what the fuck they want to do. So let's let it rest.
Desmond Scott finally happy. The way he was kissing that girl and tonguing her down, they had to been in a relationship about a year or two. Probably more than that, but it looked very comfortable. They ain't no regular kiss.
Desmond and that mystery woman were passionately kissing. That was that freedom kiss. I'm baffled that the same man who asked for privacy pretty much went public. Christy just filed for divorce not too long ago. Days after, and you're already passionately kissing another woman publicly? You could have waited a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, have some respect.
So Desmond, let me get this right. You come out and publicly apologize to your soon-to-be ex-wife for all and taking accountability for all the things that you obviously did in your marriage, i.e. the cheating of it all. And then days later, you have the audacity to just be out and about tonguing down some woman. And I just know for a fact that's most likely the woman that you was cheating on your wife with. And it's just like, have we no shame? Have we no privacy? Have we no respect for the mother of your children, the woman that you have literally known since you was 14 years old? You're telling me that you couldn't keep that lady in the house just for a little bit longer? A little bit? Like, at least let the ink dry on the divorce papers. Like, you're telling me that you couldn't have kept that little scarfuffle back in the house? You was that happy to just bring that lady out and just be like, you know what? Everybody knows now, so I hide it. Have you no shame? Don't you have sons? All boys. You're a father. Is this the example? Honestly, truly. And for all of y'all talking about, oh my God, he looks so happy. Good for him. Good for that. Are y'all cool? Literally, I don't care how sad somebody is in a relationship. You break up with them. That does not give you the right to cheat. And then once the partner who's getting cheated on files for divorce, now you think you could just do whatever you want to do. No, you had no respect in that marriage. The least you could do is try to have some respect as we go through dissolution. The least you could do is keep that whore in the house while we go through divorce, and then later down the line, pop out with her. But for right now, you keep all that. You keep all them theatrics in the house. because you're looking for a moment and you got one. And it's so disrespectful to the mother of your children. And that is exactly why Christy is going to prosper. And I hope this is the end of you, because that is ridiculous. Like, have you no shame, bro? That is so disrespectful. Like, what is your issue? Do you not think how this is going to affect that lady? That lady has already has to deal with the fact that you cheated on her, and now she is going through a divorce, looking at her life completely different, and the man that she was in love with is now just out and about kissing women in public? Jail. Arrest him.
Divorced or not, that kiss was so uncouth. Like, don't get me wrong, I love PDA. I'm here for a PDA, a good makeout session. But that man was sucking her face and holding on to her for dear life. Like, sir, calm the fuck down and get a room.
You guys are getting it all wrong. Desmond only made a video with that woman to clear all the rumors that he was gay. He just wanted to get ahead of it. There were already all these think pieces, everything. Everyone was jumping to conclusions. So he was just like, you know what? Let me get ahead of this ASAP. And you can tell because he wasn't trying to hide it. They were in a club. He knew someone was going to record it. In fact, I would not be surprised if one of his friends recorded it and sent it to a TMZ. Okay, because how did TMZ just so happen to be there in that moment? And I get it. People randomly show up at a club. But you can tell there was one of his friends in front of it trying to act like he was blocking it. And then the way the woman was on top of him, locking lips. I bet you she's a paid actor in all of this. So again, I think this was just an act to clear rumors so people stop saying that he was gay.
And see, this is why you need real butch queens and trans girls around. Because if you're gonna give the girls a scheme, give the girls a scheme. Because either it looks like you were extremely egregiously disrespectful, or it's a stunt. When you would have been better off, a softer version would have been somebody catching you walking out of place, like holding hands. Like something simple. You know what I'm saying? Something where you can be like, oh, this is possible, but either you completely wilding out or you doing this Scooby-Doo caper shit that just looks dumb, because at the end of the day, it ain't like the people ain't got good people on their team. And also it's like you just picked up any bitch. Like you ain't even with a bad, like, no shade. Christy sits her all day, and we know niggas don't care about looks and stuff, but I'm like, girl, she looks like she do her perms at home. She look like she go to the shop that's on Still Magnolias. You know? But he might as well 1, 2, 3 release him, honey. Because also I hope you have her under a stern NDA, because the more people you bring into a caper, the higher the probability that the caper is going to fall to pieces.
If Desmond was so unhappy, he should have filed for a divorce. He should have filed for a divorce. Instead, he cheated on his wife, right? And a lot of you guys are online now shifting the blame to Christy and saying that her content forum was all about making fun of him. He's an adult. If he didn't want to participate in that, he could have said, I don't want to be a part of this. I don't want to be a part of this. But the problem is that content, we suspect, was generating a lot of revenue for them, right? And there is something to be said, and I know some people, men, will argue with me about this, but some people know this. There's something to be said about when a woman starts to make more money than a man, how there is a jealousy and a hatred that slowly builds up over time. We don't know what's going on in these people's life for real. We don't know. But all I do know, and all I'm saying, is that if he was that unhappy, he could have, of his own volition, went and filed for a divorce, but he didn't. Instead, he cheated. And when you put out a statement and you make it a point to put on there, I wanted to separate, that tells me everything I need to know. Because at some point or another, some of us have dealt with that type of personality and that person that wants to assign blame. And we know exactly what I mean by that.
And also, and I'll say this, there's too much propaganda making fun of girls who have babies out of wedlock, that we don't prioritize marriage first. And we know a ring doesn't, the ring don't mean a thing. Is that what Kim Ass said? But the point is, how y'all are behaving around Kristy and Desmond, and the fact that he asked for a separation, and if he didn't get it when he wanted to, it makes complete sense for his behavior there afterwards. And his mere statement means that he's single now, that like the divorce proceeding doesn't need to take place. As a matter of fact, it does. That's the point of being married, is that it's harder to undo the union that you've built a life there under. It's supposed to be more difficult. Y'all making it seem like they just was boyfriend and girlfriend. Isn't that the propaganda that we push when we shame people who didn't get the ring first? Well, if you had the ring, it, contracts and this, that, and the third, and woo. Where's Dr. Bryant when you need her? I need somebody to pull the respectability manual to remind people why marriage is the most appropriate first path when building and investing in either partner, because it creates some sort of expectation of respect and care and a process to dismantle said union. An iOS press release is not a divorce decree.
Child, so as y'all probably know already, Kristy had stepped out with her new bob. Okay, she cut that dead weight off. Yeah. And she was taking pictures all over that island, up in the same house, talking about it's the same address. It's very much giving,
I'm still in the motherfucking house.
I'm still in the house. Okay? And I'm not going nowhere. That's what it's giving.
And that's Jehovah's diva to you. She's saved. She's sanctified. She's got a micro bob and the same address. She's come to witness. She's knocking at your door. She's spreading the great word of the diva of the divas, the biggest diva, Jehovah Jireh, Jehovah Nisi, Jehovah Shalom. That's Jehovah's diva.
Kristy, niece, I need you to go find you a nigga to put you through the mattress, niece. Now, immediately. I want Jehovah to witness you getting your portion, because this nigga's playing on your time, niece. And I don't like it. Desmond got my niece fucked up. I don't like that. He been out here doing the Wicked Witch of the West cackle for all these years. Got us thinking that he's just a chefing ass nigga. And he a cheating ass nigga.
Now, Kristy, you heard what she said. The aunties have spoken. Do your big one, sis. Walk that nigga like a dog.
Oh, it's the shepherds, baby. You was playing shit. Walking like a dog. Walking like a dog, sis. Walking like a dog.
Because how the hell he asked for privacy and then pop out acting a fool in public? As if y'all not already going through a lot. And y'all are just in the beginning of this. If he want to play, make him a team player. But y'all, let's get into the legal side of the matters. Y'all, now according to this article, it says that Kristy Scott no longer wants to go by the last name that made her famous. The TikTok star, 30 years old, has filed to legally ditch her estranged husband Desmond Scott's last name following the end of their 11-year marriage. So she no longer wants to be Kristy Scott. She wants to be Kristy Small. She also made it clear that there was no chance of reconciliation and note that they will soon stop living together as husband and wife per the court documents. Child, now Kristy and Desmond has also filed a joint motion to seal their divorce records in Texas, making the case private, likely to protect sensitive information like finances and their 2 children, Weston and Vance, following Kristy's initial filing for divorce citing infidelity in late 2025. The request to seal comes after they reportedly reached a mediated settlement agreement on the terms of their split, aiming to keep details of their divorce confidential despite the public profiles. Now let's get into the custody battle. They plan to agree on custody and support their children, but the court will decide if they can't come to an agreement. I came across this creator right here called Attornify, and she speaks some really good sense. Let's see what she got to say.
Hi, my name's Efi, and I'm a Texas family law attorney, and today I will be breaking down the Kristy Scott divorce petition. This isn't commentary on anyone's life. This is just what this petition means under Texas family law. Now, the first thing I want to point out is the ground for divorce. There is a fault-based ground, which is adultery. Texas legal definition of adultery is voluntary sexual intercourse with someone other than your spouse during your marriage. Okay, so voluntary, you are not. Sexual intercourse has to be intercourse and with someone other than your spouse during the marriage. That means that in Texas, where we have no legal separation, you are married until you're divorced. The next thing that I thought was interesting was the marital property agreement section here. That basically means that there's either a prenup, a postnup, or some type of agreement that defines or sets out what's going to happen to them. So all the online speculation about who gets what may already be decided. Both sides just asked for this divorce to be sealed. My name is Efi, and I'm a Texas family law attorney. And what you're seeing behind me is a joint motion to seal court records filed by Kristy Scott and Desmond Scott. One really interesting thing is that this request is actually tied to a mediated settlement agreement. And see, it says dated January 7th, 2026, which means that they have likely entered into an agreement about the terms of this divorce. And that's one of the things that they're seeking to keep private, because normally in Texas, it would be filed into the case and we would be able to see it. And to be clear, sealing records does not automatically mean scandal or wrongdoing. In a lot of like high profile divorces, people will try to do that to protect their children, their finances, and other sensitive personal information.
So I've seen a lot on social media about this couple and the fact that both of them built the brand, and the brand was very much a couple brand. And now that she has taken those videos down that show the two of them, he's no longer entitled to that income. And that's actually incorrect, because it's still considered community property if the income was earned and generated during the marriage. So that's a community property, and it's subject to be divided by a Texas court. And what the Texas Family Code says is a just and right division. So just but him being in the video doesn't matter. If you're married to a doctor, for example, and that person makes money, even though you weren't doing the surgeries, that's still considered community property in the state of Texas. It's when it was earned, not necessarily who earned it or whose effort went into it. So her doing that doesn't necessarily protect it from being divided by a court.
The judge denied the motion to seal in the Kristy Scott divorce, even though both parties asked for it to be sealed. The reason is literally right here. What is the good cause denied as submitted? My name's Ify, and I'm a Texas family law attorney. Let's talk about motions to seal and why one can be denied. But first, I just want to say, if you're thinking this should be private, why is this not private? Protect the kids. This is none of anyone's business. That is something you're going to have to take up with the Texas legislature, because under Texas law, anyone can walk into a court and obtain this document. That's how Texas open courts work. Texas sealing a divorce is very difficult. Texas law doesn't allow for sealing for just the sake of privacy, because both sides are well known, or because you agree. The law requires good cause, meaning specific, articulable harm that outweighs the public's right to access the records. And here's the part that people forget. Even Ken Paxton, the Texas State Attorney General, attempted to seal his divorce. It was sealed, and then it was later unsealed. If the top lawyer in the state of Texas couldn't successfully seal his divorce or keep it sealed, then that just tells you how high the bar is. Now, I'll be clear, I'm not saying that this case is not going to be sealed. The judge said denied as submitted. To me, and probably any other attorney, that just means that you could amend the motion because it was denied as it was submitted, but you can amend it and add more good cause. If I'm her attorney, I'm amending the motion, I'm adding more facts of good cause, stronger facts, and I'm arguing for maybe even a partial sealing, like a sealing of the mediated settlement agreement, a sealing of sensitive financial information instead of the entire case. This is often a smarter and more successful strategy, and I've been successful doing this in cases. This is why it's important to have a good Texas attorney, whether that's family law or immigration, because a lot of these things are specific, strategic, and technical, and consequences are real. Let's break down what we can tell from the court filings in the Kristy Scott and Desmond Scott divorce. First, we know that a motion to seal was filed, and we know that motion to seal was denied. I did a video on both of them, so if you want to check it out, you can. We also know that there was some type of marital property agreement based on the pleadings. That's either a prenup, a postnup, or some other type of agreement to divide separate and community property. In Texas, those agreements carry significant weight, and as long as they're done properly, a court will enforce them. The next thing we know, and arguably the most important, is that there was a mediated settlement agreement that was entered into. In Texas, a mediated settlement agreement that is properly done is very hard to back out of. Once it meets the legal requirements, the court is required to enter judgment on it. In practical terms, that means that the divorce is likely already, all of the terms of the divorce are already finalized. And that context may explain why some people appear to be comfortable moving forward publicly. Because when an MSA is in place, it's not revocable. And if you're wondering when this will all be over, Texas Family Code 6.702 waiting period. A divorce must be on file for at least 60 days. And since the divorce was filed on December 30th, they cannot finalize it until the 60-day period is up, except under very limited circumstances. So if the divorce was filed on December 30th and we add 60 days, that would give us February 28th before it could be finalized. Courts are not open on February 28th, so we probably have to go to the next Monday. And that is the earliest that this divorce can be finalized.
Excuse me? Hammers! Child, when I say it's messy in here, it's messy in here. Child, listen here. We're going to have to keep up with this because there's a lot of messy shit going on. If you made it to the end of the video and you're a yapper like me, meet me in the comments so we can have a key. That's all I got for y'all today, baby. Child, y'all so messy.